when you first initiate the website that you just installed, you really need to remember the web address. Okay, so they gave it to you as soon as it was installed, and here in my case, it's of course this is meaningless to you because you're not involved with ghsvids.com, but it is whatever domain name and whatever sort of like website that you're about to build. So I'm just kind of using a relative domain name here, web address if you will. So again, this is not important to you as a student, but as I was mentioned before, you need to remember where your files are being stored and how to access your current WordPress website the way that it's been installed. Again, talk to your web hosting company for extra help if you have any questions, or you can simply email me and maybe I can help you out. But whatever your web address is, okay, at the very end you want to type in the following: WP admin. Okay, so WP admin, and I'm going to press return or enter, whichever computer you're using, and then it'll be taking you to this login field here. So whatever the username was, and I believe mine was that, and let me see if I can go ahead and remember my password correctly. Of course, you have the eyeball there that can kind of slowly show you what it is. So in other words, if I just randomly type it in, and that's not my password, but I click on the eyeball here and it'll display that. So let me go ahead and put in the correct one if I remember it. Again, important to write things down, important to kind of remember the best you can. I don't rely on memory alone. Of course, at the time of making this, I'm in my 50s. Memory is kind of fading. So, but I'm just saying that, you want to remember as best you can. Write it down, put it in a database somewhere private where no one else knows about it without you giving permission, or of course for yourself. You also may want to click on Remember Me, so that at the very least it'll automatically populate your username or your email address. Okay, let's go ahead and click Login. Okay, welcome to what is known as the dashboard. So the first thing you'll see here obviously is the word dashboard. Now let's go ahead and see what's on top here. Now you may or may not see exactly what I'm seeing, and that's okay. Again, every web hosting company is different. Every sort of installation may be different. The most important things are the similarities that we'll discuss. The top portion should be similar, with the exception of this icon right here, something to do with boldgrip.com, which obviously may not involve your account. You may not even see that. 9 times out of 10, your top portion or the top section of this dashboard will usually begin with the WordPress logo. So you've got About WordPress, WordPress.org, documentation. So feel free to go ahead and kind of click on that and see exactly what it is that's involved. This right here is basically the name of your website. Okay, and as you can see, there is a link called Visit Website. Now, with this section here, my recommendation, if you possibly can, I would right click and click Open in a new tab, because what this will do is that it will show you your actual work. It'll show you the actual website as it's, I guess, in the state it is right now. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Open New Link in the tab. See, there it goes. It's going to open that. And there you see, it should say something like Hello World, maybe your title, maybe over here some verbiage, and I'll show you exactly where it's kept inside the dashboard. Now, why do I say right click? Because watch what happens when I just click Visit Site. It kind of takes over the dashboard, and I don't want that. And now I got to go back, and hopefully nothing is lost. And if you might risk losing a space that you're working on, So I think right-clicking, open a new tab would be better. So if you did make changes, all you got to do is basically refresh. We'll be doing that throughout the entire time. So if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and, like I said, go ahead and if you wouldn't mind, move the cursor over the name of your website to visit the site and right-click and select Open Link in New Tab. Okay, this link right here with the number sign and sort of like an arrow chasing itself, sort of like a refresh, well, that is basically telling you that you need to update. Okay, as you can see, I'm going to move it a little bit closer and hover over this icon, and you'll see it'll say 3 plugin updates. So why is that important? Well, for one thing, you want to be able to update your plugins to the latest and greatest. Well, what are plugins? Well, plugins are additions. Okay, remember, let's say for instance, well, for those of you who drove about 20 years ago, a base model car is anything like, well, it basically just had a steering wheel, it had a door, a roll down windows. Now, if you want to add more features, like say cruise control or say, sunroof or whatever the case may be, if you want to add, that is a plugin. It enhances your website. But plugins are usually made by third-party developers. So that's why there is a need to update. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the number 3 here. Okay. And as you can see, it's kind of doing its thing. And for instance, right here, first of all, I'm not going to refer to this bold grip thing, so I'm just going to X out of here. Okay, it gives you the opportunity. Again, it'll give you a lot of messages here, current version. It'll tell you what the current version of WordPress is. And it really is important to keep in the current version as well as updating your plugins. Why do I say that? Because if you don't, it can be a security risk. In other words, unfortunately, one of the bad things about WordPress, and I wouldn't say it's a bad thing if you're not careful, but I'm just saying one of the, things you have to be aware of is that WordPress can be a virus magnet. In other words, a lot of malware can come in, a lot of viruses can come in, a lot of bad stuff from bad guys out there. And if your site gets infected, well, then you're at risk of infecting a lot of other websites. And believe me, you don't want viruses. I'm doing this course in the middle of the 2020 and 2021 coronavirus pandemic, and I've had enough of viruses. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and select all. Okay, these are the plugins that obviously has been installed, and I'm just going to go ahead and click on update, and that's all you got to do. You just got to relax and sit back and let WordPress do its thing, and it keeps you informed of the status of updating. Here it is, updating plugin by Jetpack, 1 of 3. Okay, I suppose that's been updated successfully. Total upkeep has been updated successfully, and WeForms have been selected, updated successfully. Okay, so it's all good, and notice here the number is 0. Plugins are right here, and we're going to talk about that eventually, and it's going to be pretty important for you to understand how to handle plugins. Now, the few plugins that you should have is Classic Editor, Hello Dolly, Jetpack is what I just kind of explained. Okay, but we'll get to that when we do. For now, let's go into Dashboard. And the final thing I want to discuss here is new. Again, this is just new post, media, page, user. It's not going to make sense to you right now if you're a brand new WordPress student, but it will. Okay, in the next video, I'm going to talk about the left nav bar, so stay tuned.